You wake up before dawn and prepare for the market. Soon you will travel to buy vegetables and spices, then return to arrange them neatly for your customers. Each small sale matters. Each market day is another chance to keep your household moving forward, another step toward rebuilding your life after a violent displacement. But years ago, your mornings looked very different. Back then, your days began under the shade of a large baobab tree in Potiskum, Yobe State, where you fried bean cake and greeted familiar faces from your community.
Life was peaceful and predictable until the sound of gunfire one evening changed everything.
Welcome to Vestiges of Violence. Here, we talk about survivors. For Human Angle, I am Sabika.
Christie Garba is a 38-year-old mother of 7. She lives in Billiri, Gombe State, in Nigeria's northeast.
But her journey here began in Yobe State, where she once lived with her family before the Boko Haram insurgency hit the region.
We got displaced in 2013. We came from Yobe directly to Billiri. It wasn't easy at all. The gunshot started at 4 p.m. and continued until 4 a.m. At that point, I tried my best to gather myself and my children and get out.
The violence reached Yobe slowly at first. Attacks had happened in nearby places,
but for a few months, they had not reached her community directly. People fleeing other areas even ran toward her town in search of safety, so no one imagined the danger was already creeping closer.
At the time, Christie was a small business owner. Every day, she fried bean cakes and sold them to customers in the community.
It was lucrative, and she would use up to 10 measures of beans in a day. But during the crisis, that reduced to 1 or 2 measures because people were no longer buying much.
Christie and her family had stayed about 4 months after the attack started. But when bombs were later discovered in the area, soldiers began exchanging fire with the terrorists.
And as the violence escalated, the soldiers warned residents that the situation had become too dangerous to remain.
The curfews that followed made everyday life almost impossible.
I used to go out around noon or 1 o'clock to sell, and I had to return by 4 in the evening. Anything past 4 was risky. But later even that stopped, and I couldn't go out at all. By January 2013, I knew I could no longer stay. Everyone was running for their lives. I found my husband, who had fled earlier because men were being hunted, and I told him we had to go. On January 5th, 2013, we left our home and came to Billiri.
The journey meant leaving behind a life that had once been stable.
Back in Potiskum, farming had sustained the family. Christie and her husband both farmed their own fields, harvesting grains like millet and guinea corn. And the harvests were generous. Her husband harvested up to 50 bags, and she harvested about 25 to 30 bags.
But displacement scattered that life. When her family arrived in Billiri, they were stepping into the unknown. Christie had never been to Gombe State before and only knew her older brother, who had fled there the year before and helped them find a place to stay.
At first, he was the only person she knew. But slowly, she began to form new connections as the people of Billiri welcomed them with open arms. They empathized with them as survivors of the insurgency, and though life in displacement was not easy, they tried.
Farming was no longer practical because the available farmland was too far away and the family had no vehicle to reach it. So Christie began to search again for a way to rebuild. Eventually, she found it in the marketplace.
Her entry into the business began with a simple act of trust.
One day in the market, I told someone selling foodstuff that I wanted to start the business but did not know how. He told me I could take some goods from him sell them, and later bring the money. That was how I started.
Today, Christie runs a small food business selling ingredients such as vegetables and spices.
Every week, she travels to the market in Kumo, a nearby town, to restock her goods. Like many small businesses, the profits are modest, but the work allows her to support her family. She's able to take care of herself and even pay her children's school fees. The business has now run for 4 years, and along the way, there have been difficult moments when it nearly collapsed.
One time, the business almost crashed. I prayed to God because I did not know what to do. Then an elderly man passed by and asked how I was doing and how the business was going. I told him that I was just managing. Later, he gave me some money to support the business. I will never forget it. That money helped me continue.
Acts of kindness like that have shaped her journey of rebuilding. But Christie's ambitions reach far beyond survival.
She hopes the business will expand and that more doors will open for her to get capital. She wants to buy and sell more goods, such as grains and palm oil, because there's a market for them. She hopes to become a wholesaler and dreams of owning a farm again, where the land is easily accessible. Christie wants to grow so she can, in turn, empower others the way she was once empowered.
Many things could change, she says, and she would have fewer worries. For now, she returns to the market every week and brings home new goods to sell. And every week, the small business continues to move forward. Because for Christie Garba, rebuilding is a long road of falling and standing again and walking on. This episode was reported by Sabika Bello. Multimedia editor is Anthony Asemota, and executive producer is Ahmed Salkida.
In order to protect the identities of survivors, we use voice actors for this episode. If you or anyone you know have a story to share on vestiges of violence, do not hesitate to get in touch with us.